Good evening, everybody. You know, you might have been hearing an echo. The mic was accidentally on. So you might have been hearing the music twice. Anyways, wanted to come on the air and talk about the election coming up tomorrow. We're going to have a live election stream. I hope you can join us tomorrow night. We're going to have a whole election stream coming up. So I hope you can be there. We will start before the polls start closing. I think in one state they close at 7. Maybe Virginia. I have to look it up. So it'll be before 7. We'll come on earlier than that. We will be on the air tomorrow night. Again, I hope you can join us. It'll be a whole thing. We'll be reading your comments on the air. And if you're somewhere where you can vote and you haven't voted, I'd encourage you to vote. My town's having a local election. I already voted early. So it's an off-year election. So it's not for president, not for the U.S. Congress. That's every 2 years, it's for the U.S. Congress. Every 4 years for president. So not for that, but a lot of state races going on. And a lot of people are going to read in national implications for the state races. S. said, I live in New Jersey and I did early voting. Very nice. So we're going to talk about some of these races. We haven't done a preview stream yet, so figured we'd do one the night before. And by the way, quick thanks to Jean-Paul Lachance gave some memberships. Thanks, Jean-Paul Lachance. Also, thanks Michael McIsaac for being a member. Hey, let's thank our moderators for being here. We have Janet B. moderating. Thank you, Janet B. Ruth Krafasi is here. We have... Hang on a moment. Hang on, everyone. Good Luck Duck and Idaho Star here moderating on Twitch. Thank you. Thanks to our Facebook mods as well. We have modding Christina Neal, K. Lowry Body. Thank you. Thanks so much. Margaret Riley. Thank you. And also thanks to... By the way, MG Mance, I always miss when you give Facebook stars. Thanks for the Facebook stars, MG Mance, that you've given. Also, Linda Belk and Larry and Misha on X. And thanks to Sharon McCabe, our member as well. Thank you, Sharon. Hey, you know what I'm excited about? Well, I'm excited to do the election stream. But we have... I bought access to this new election site data map site thing. The website isn't new, but they're developing a new election data product. It's in like beta testing now. It's from the website Decision Desk HQ, well-known election site. So I talked to them today, and I decided to buy for the stream tomorrow the election site. It's very cool. We're going to look at it tonight. It's called the Votes at Decision Desk HQ. I think it has like all the elections in the U.S. It's got so much stuff in here. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's got like maps and polls and results and betting odds. It's got so much stuff. So we're going to be looking at that tonight. For example, New York City Mayor. Look at this. Oh my gosh, we got a map. We got commentary. There's no votes in yet. You can see Kalshi on Kalshi. Mamdani is an 89% favorite on Polymarket. Do they have the Polymarket odds yet? Hey, the Polymarket link isn't working. I'll tell you what. Oh, no, Polymarket is working. 90%, 90.8% on Polymarket. So we're going to be looking... we're going to have... And they have like... Look at that. They got the results by county. We got a map. We can pull up the map. There's going to be a lot of stuff to show you. I don't think it's all working at the moment, but I haven't even had a chance to go through this yet. But we'll be looking at this tonight. And definitely tomorrow night, we will be bringing you live voting updates from the Decision Desk HQ Votes new site. Oh my gosh, I'm excited about it. Before the stream tomorrow night, I need to practice with this so I can figure out how it works. Haven't even used it. Oh, there's also polling on this site. Look at this. Look at all these polls. It's incredible. New York City mayor. How does this work? I don't even know where to look. Oh yeah, so it lists all the recent polls. So we'll talk about this. This is fun. Okay, we'll do this too. You can like go through all the recent polls. How about that? Oh my gosh, crazy. All right, so we're going to be, maybe we'll start off tonight by talking about New York City mayor. We might start off by talking about that. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a new system they developed. It's like their first election with it. It's beta testing. Chaz says that's some serious data. Average Shorts Enjoyer says, will the NYC election be called tomorrow night? Off the top of my head, I don't know how long it'll take to count ballots in the different places. And also, I don't know how close it'll be. So we'll have to see when things get called. But, it's not about just races getting called. A lot of people are going to look at the margins of certain big races. The New Jersey and Virginia governor's races are seen as important races. State of California is having a referendum on whether to allow redrawing of congressional maps. Governor Newsom in California undertook this project to try to balance off against Texas, allowing redistricting maps to be redrawn in Texas to favor congressional Republicans. So there's that as well. So why don't we start by talking about the New York City mayor? I think we should start by talking about that. Don't you think? New York City mayor? Let's do that. Gosh, I got to figure out where to look on all this stuff. It's crazy. New York City mayor. There you go. Wow. A lot of people talking about this in our chat. So, Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani, Democratic socialist, left-wing leaning candidate, certainly. And then he beat, not even all the candidates are showing. He beat Andrew Cuomo in the primary, but Cuomo is running independent. Although technically speaking, I don't know what it's called. But Cuomo is running as an independent candidate. He's not running with one of the major parties. What on the ballot it says FAD. I don't even know what that means. Someone knows. He's running as an independent. I don't know what FAD means. Someone will tell me. And then we have Curtis Sliwa is running as a Republican candidate. President Trump and Elon Musk today both said a vote for Sliwa is a vote for Mamdani. I'll have to show you what Elon Musk and President Trump said. There are other candidates, but basically it's going to come down to Cuomo and Mamdani. That's what it's going to happen. Cuomo and Mamdani. Steph says Sliwa is a native New Yorker. Yes, Mamdani is the Democratic candidate. Now, it's interesting. One thing that can be confusing is in the primary, New York used this ranked choice voting system where you don't just pick one candidate, you rank your choices. And then if your candidate doesn't do that well, then they get rid of that candidate and they see who you voted for as like your second choice or your third choice. That was for the primary. But for the general election, there's no ranked choice voting. So basically, everybody who votes gets one vote for governor, for mayor. And then the person with the most votes wins. They don't even have to get 50%. So you keep that in mind. Hey, I am Charlie. Thank you, I am Charlie. PXNX says New York is going to learn real quick that socialism is not the way. Our viewer, CAC813, says Cuomo and Sliwa are splitting the vote, and therein lies the problem. I would love for Curtis to win. In terms of the latest polling on this, let me show you. See, look, I can go to polling on the votes at Decision Desk HQ site. We don't want right track and wrong track. We want New York City mayor. There we go. This is interesting. It shows you how the polling has been over time. If I can pull it up here. Ooh, hold on. How do I get it higher on the screen? I wish I could move this higher. Again, this is the first time I'm using the site. Well, I can move these up. Can I get it up a little bit? Oh, here it goes. So what you can see is blue is Mamdani. When was the primary? So Mamdani was kind of came out of nowhere. When was NYC mayor primary? It was June 24th. Uh-oh, what happened here? It was June 24th. It's funny, I mean, at the time, you can see, at the time, Cuomo was polling in the 30s, high 30s, and Mamdani was polling about 25, but if that's what this seems to suggest. But Mamdani won the primary. Well, there was ranked choice voting too. There was also ranked choice voting. But anyways, you can see, right? Let me just go to the latest polls. So Atlas Intel had a poll a few days ago where Mamdani was getting 43.9% and Cuomo was getting 39.4%. Atlas Intel also had a poll a few days earlier. Mamdani getting about 40, Cuomo getting 34. Marist College about a week ago, Mamdani 48, Cuomo 32. I mean, the Marist College ones are kind of different from the Atlas Intel ones. Atlas Intel has it as a 4 or 6 point race. Marist College recent ones had it as a 14 to 16 point race. Beacon Research did some polling in late October, had Mamdani up from 14 to 16%. Quinnipiac University, late October, had Mamdani by 10. Emerson College in late October had Mamdani by 24%. Manhattan Institute, Mamdani by 15. So those Atlas Intel ones the recent ones are closer than a lot of the recent polling. 4 and 6%. So we'll see what ends up happening. We'll have to see. But those are some of the recent ones. I actually have a little clip of Mamdani speaking tonight, which we'll play in a bit. Hey, thanks, by the way, to Kirk Spaziani. Kirk wants me to cover Seattle. Maybe we'll talk about it. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow night. Are we going to talk about it tonight? I don't know. Tomorrow night, definitely, Kirk. We'll be talking about all kinds of stuff. Maybe we'll take a look at that before the end of tonight. Thank you, Kirk. Kirk wants Katie Wilson to win. I have to admit, Kirk, I have not been following the Seattle race. I'll have to do some reading on it tonight. Hey, thanks, I am Charlie, for the memberships. It's so nice of you. Thank you so much. Also, CJ Break Things. CJ Breaks Things, who says anyone knocking socialism should have to define it first. Warren Tinsley says their choice is Cuomo or Mamdani. Yikes. John Q. Public says, I am mailing in my ballot for the next New York City Mayor, Curtis Sliwa. Let's talk a little bit about that New York race, okay? So again, we're going to be doing the stream tomorrow night. We're going to be covering it. I hope you can be here for our election night stream. I'm looking forward to it. We got the maps and the results and everything. Let's see here. Let's get a little bit of a summary of New York City race. Oh, and I want to show you what Trump had to say today. You can see AP says NYC mayoral candidates make final push ahead of Election Day. Again, Mamdani is a pretty left-wing candidate, so there's this question about how is he going to do? I mean, that's not the only thing that defines him. He's also known as savvy on social media. He's a younger candidate than a lot of the candidates would normally be, but certainly known for having some left-wing policies. You can see here, from Coney Island to the Bronx, the candidates in NYC's mayoral race spent today crisscrossing the 5 boroughs in a final frenzied day of campaigning on the eve of Election Day. It says what President Trump here said. Let me show you here. Here's what President Trump had to say. He said a bunch of things today on True Social. Trump calls him a communist. That's what Trump calls him. Trump says if communist candidate Zohran Mamdani wins the election for mayor of New York City, it is highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds, other than the very minimum as required, to my beloved first home, because of the fact that as a communist, this once great city has zero chance of success or even survival. Again, he is running as a democratic socialist, not a communist. Trump says, it can only get worse with a communist at the helm, and I don't want to send as president good money after bad. It is my obligation to run the nation, and it is my strong conviction that New York City will be a complete and total economic and social disaster should Mamdani win. His principles have been tested for over 1,000 years, says Trump, and never once have they been successful. I would much rather see a Democrat who has had a record of success win than a communist with no experience and a record of complete and total failure. He was nothing as an assemblyman, ranked at the bottom of the class, and as mayor of potentially, again, the greatest city in the world, he has no chance to bring it back to its former glory. We must also remember this, says Trump. A vote for the Republican candidate, Curtis Sliwa, who looks much better without the beret, is a vote for Mamdani. Whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice, says Trump. You must vote for him and hope he does a fantastic job. He is capable of it. Mamdani is not. So Trump says, whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. You must vote for him. So some strong words from President Trump. Now, Elon Musk also said something similar about voting for Sliwa. If I can find it here. Let's see. Elon Musk said, remember to vote tomorrow in New York. Bear in mind that a vote for Curtis is really a vote for Mamdani or whatever his name is. Vote Cuomo. You can see AP says the campaign hurtled towards its end after more than 735,000 votes were cast during the city's 9 days of early in-person voting, more than 4 times the number of ballots cast during the only other mayor's race to allow early voting in 2021. The tally was well short of the nearly 1.1 million early in-person votes cast during last year's presidential election, but some voting locations saw large crowds Sunday, the last day of voting, early voting. Andrew Cuomo, 67, they must have a picture of him here. There's Cuomo right there. Oops, you can't see him. There's Cuomo right there. Andrew Cuomo, 67, is trying to make his return to political office after resigning as governor 4 years ago following a barrage of sexual harassment accusations that he denies. A Democrat who is running as an independent, he has shifted to wooing Republican voters to bolster his centrist base, pitching himself as the only candidate who can stop Mamdani, says AP. Mamdani, who is a state assembly member who, hold on, Mamdani, there he is, a state assembly member who would be the first Muslim mayor of New York City, beat Cuomo in the primary with an energetic campaign focused on making the city a more affordable place to live. That is something a number of Democrats are emphasizing in their campaigns this year, affordability. Curtis Sliwa, who's the Republican candidate, the red beret wearing creator of the Guardian Angels Crime Patrol Group, visited a subway stop in Brooklyn today before setting off to rally his supporters in the outer boroughs. I told you what President Trump had to say. All right, I'm going to ask you guys what's going to happen. Oh, and just to go back to it, because somebody mentioned it. So when I last looked, somebody just mentioned this in the chat. So if we go back here to our Decision Desk HQ, where is this here? Decision Desk HQ says that on Kalshi, Mamdani is an 89% favorite. And on Poly Market, I think it was 91 when we last looked at it. Mamdani, 90.7% favorite. Now, is that up to date? I'm checking. Yes, I'm looking at the website now. It looks like it's up to date. All right, so let me take some comments from you. What are you guys going to think happen? What do you guys think is going to happen? We actually should. We'll do a poll. We'll do a little poll in our chat in a second. Big Mike says, "I can't wait for Trump's meltdown when Mamdani wins." Karen G thinks Slee was going to win. Stasha Morgan says, it's interesting to see all the money fighting to keep Mamdani from becoming mayor. This mayoral race has certainly got a lot of national attention. B. Earhart says, hope for a record turnout tomorrow. Havada Stinker says, people don't want the establishment candidate. Our viewer also Jason SK said, never seen so much coverage for a mayoral race. Let's do a little poll in our chat and see what you guys say. Who will win? Who will be next NYC mayor? Mamdani, Cuomo, Sliwa. Sorry, Facebook, they still haven't fixed the polls on Facebook. So I'm going to ask it on Twitch and YouTube. All right. YouTube, I'm posting the poll right now. I just posted it. Now I'm going to post it on Twitch for the Twitch people. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna give you the results in 2 seconds. All right, let's see what you guys had to say. I said, who do you think is going to win the NYC mayor race? And on YouTube, 63% say Mamdani, 28% say Cuomo, and 9% say Sliwa. That'd be quite an update if Sliwa were to win. Over on Twitch, here's what our viewers have to say. "75% say Mamdani will win, 14% say Cuomo, 10% say Sliwa." Now, keep in mind, if we go to polling here on Decision Desk HQ votes, as I mentioned, if we pull up the New York City mayor polls, right, the recent ones, as I mentioned, these two Atlas Intel ones were quite close. The two recent Atlas Intel ones, saying it was a 4.5 point race and basically a 6.5 point race. And can you see it? No, you can't. I'll have to show you. All right. Well, thank you for voting in the poll. Most of you think Mamdani's going to win, but keep in mind here, as I show you these polls here, you can see them there. And then the Marist College had a couple recent ones where Mamdani was up by 14 points and 16 points. But I mean, in poll after poll, Mamdani is not at 50%. So if you think the Cuomo and Sliwa people really don't want Mamdani, that they would each take the other before Mamdani, then maybe you think there's a chance that, for example, some of the Sliwa voters could go in there and say, well, I like Sliwa the best, but I don't think he's going to win, so maybe I'll vote for my second choice. What is that called? Strategic voting or something, when you don't vote for your first choice? But again, I'm just looking at these poll numbers. Just look at the recent polls. Even the ones he's up by a lot in Mamdani, he doesn't have 50%. So in theory, if the non-Mamdani vote could come together, they could get more votes than him. This is a poll from October 14th where he had 52%. Now, he might get over 50%. I don't know what he's going to get, but if you look at a bunch of the polls do not have Mamdani at 50%. It's not ranked choice voting for the general election. Isn't voting tomorrow? Well, yes, but you can vote by mail, you can vote early in person, or you can vote in person. These are not election results. These are just polls. KP thinks Trump's statement will make the difference. Wilt Chamberlain says Mamdani is the first Democrat populist candidate in a while. He'll get 60% is my guess. Our viewer SK Wid thinks Mamdani's going to get above 55%. The polls had him down in the primary to LMAO. I'd like to, for people who haven't really been following, I'd like to at least mention a little something about Mamdani, see his views, so you can get a little sense of the kind of things, some of the positions he's taken on things. If you give me a second here. Actually, I wonder if he has them just listed on his campaign page. He might. Right. So, for example, let's go to his page. Mamdani's page. This is his campaign site, right? And you can see it emphasizes, what's the top thing on the page? He's running to lower the cost of living for working class New Yorkers. That's literally the first thing you see on the page. And if you go down, what's the next thing you see on the platform? What do you see on the page? New York is too expensive. He will lower costs and make life easier. So you can see what the campaign website emphasizes, its costs. So you have things like freeze the rent. He thinks, as mayor, Zohran will immediately freeze the rent for all rent-stabilized tenants and use every available resource to build the housing New Yorkers need and bring down the rent. Fast, fare-free buses. Public transit should be reliable, safe, and universally accessible. As mayor, he will permanently eliminate the fare on every city bus and make them faster by rapidly building priority lanes, ... You can read this at his campaign site. I'm just trying to give you a sense of some of the things he proposes. No-cost child care. Zohran will implement free child care for every New Yorker aged 6 weeks to 5 years. City-owned grocery stores. As mayor, Zohran will create a network of city-owned grocery stores focused on keeping prices low, not making a profit. There's other things here, too. Taxes on big corporations and the wealthiest New Yorkers. Zohran has a plan to bring down the cost of living through city-owned grocery stores, universal child care, and other bold proposals, and he knows how to pay for it, too. His plan will raise the corporate tax rate to match New Jersey's 11.5%, bringing in $5 billion. He will tax the wealthiest 1% of New Yorkers, those earning above $1 million annually, a flat 2% tax. Right now, city income tax rates are essentially the same whether you make $50,000 or $50 million. He will also implement, and other things. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But, I mean, so this is literally his site. And you can see on the front page what the emphasis is. It's affordability concerns. It's, and in these proposals like rent freeze, free buses, free child care, city-owned grocery stores, more taxes on the wealthy. So, again, you can get an idea of what the campaign is emphasizing here. Havada Stinker says, won't people just move out of the city, at least wealthy who can? Brolos thinks it's all lies and wishful thinking. Now, I don't believe as mayor he can just do these things. I assume he would have to have, I don't know. Is it a city council thing? Is it a state thing? I don't know who has to approve these various proposals. But I'm guessing that as mayor, at least most of those he could not do by himself. I'm not sure, though. I need to read up on this. Style Mantis says city council has to approve it. Look, and there's, there are these questions of if he won, would that stuff happen really? Or, how much of it is sort of just like a messaging, and is it the kind of thing where some of it might happen in a more limited form? I don't know. Fresh Hemp says Zohran has spoken extensively about working with Albany to pass legislation he is running on. But I am not an expert on New York politics, so I'm not in a great position to comment on lots of specifics of these proposals. Maybe we can. Zain Saya says the rent is too darn high. HC says free blank paid for by the taxpayers. Angry Music Super S says not a socialist. Bruce McElmore says no such thing as a free lunch. The Real Saltina says pie in the sky. Greenneck says sometimes I feel like Mamdani hasn't even studied economics. Hey, thank you Viper Optics, by the way. John Wolfe says if Mamdani is elected, the new governor can fire the NYC mayor if wanted or needed. I don't know if that's true. I have a hard time thinking that would, even if it were true. I'm not aware that it's true. I have a hard time thinking that would happen, John Wolfe. Thank you, John Wolfe, for your support. I really appreciate it, John Wolfe. Bloodhound Knack says, nice to see so many people defend the richest people. That gives no consideration for any of us. Epic Ali says, free is never free. So in a second, I think I'm going to show you, Mamdani spoke tonight. So I want to show you a little clip of that. We'll talk about other races too. Here's a little summary from Reuters about the race. New York City's mayoral race is always watched closely as the city is the nation's financial capital, and its leaders' decisions often influence national political discourse, at least for the locally dominant Democratic Party. That's why the race between Zohran Mamdani, a 34-year-old fresh-faced state lawmaker who won the Democratic nomination, and Andrew Cuomo, the state's former Democratic governor running as an independent, is so closely watched. The election pits Mamdani's progressive stances against Cuomo 67 and his more establishment views, making the case for his qualifications over Mamdani's newfound influence. Both candidates carry political baggage. Mamdani has faced scrutiny for identifying as a democratic socialist and for past remarks on Israel and the NYPD, while Cuomo's 2021 resignation over sexual harassment allegations clouds his potential return. Another wild card, how the radio host, Republican Curtis Slee, was staying in the race, splits the vote. Slee was the founder of the Guardian Angels. He's Republican, famous for citizen anti-crime patrols of the subways during the gritty 1980s. Where is here? Hey, thanks so much to Steve B. Steve B says, can Governor Abbott really impose 100% tariffs on relocators from New York? What is this country coming to? I have not heard of such a proposal, Steve B. I don't know that I want to go down that road right now because it's a little bit off topic. I don't know of this proposal, if there has been such a proposal. Thank you to Steve B. I appreciate it. Maybe want to take a look at what Mamdani had to say tonight? He was speaking tonight. It was a tweet, Matthew Clemens said. I haven't seen it. Oh, he tweeted it earlier today. Our chat is saying. Yeah, Greg Abbott said, after the polls close tomorrow night, I will impose a 100% tariff on anyone moving to Texas from NYC. I don't know that that was meant to be a serious proposal. I think maybe the idea is he thinks that some people will want to leave NYC if they elect Mamdani. Might be more trolling than anything else. The Houston Chronicle said that, if I'm like, I believe this is the Houston Chronicle, they said that Abbott was joking about this. They said it was a joke by Abbott. All right, let's look at, hey, thanks to Warlord Wolf for subscribing on Twitch. Also, Desarian, thanks for subscribing on Twitch. Matthew Kohai 3, thanks for subscribing. Gonzalez, thanks for subscribing on Twitch. Thanks, Douthis, for the gift sub on Twitch. That's so nice of you. We haven't even talked about any other races yet. We will shortly. So we're here doing a little election preview. Election day tomorrow. We will be covering it. We're going to do a big stream tomorrow night, big election stream. As I said before, I have a new election site here. I'm so excited to have. This is from Decision Desk HQ. This is a site they're working on. It's in beta, but they're letting me use it. I had to pay them to use it. I did pay to use it, but they did allow me to use it. It's not completely publicly available yet. So we're going to try it out. I'm excited. It's got a lot of information. It's got maps and poll numbers and results, all kind of results. I think it's going to be really cool to use. And we'll have this tomorrow. You can, we'll have the election map. We'll have the different votes remaining. They have what the predicted outcome will be, what the chances of somebody winning is, all kinds of statistics and everything. And so I'm looking forward to this. So we'll have that. I hope you can join tomorrow night for the stream. They even have the betting market odds there from Polymarket and Kalshi, so we'll talk about that as well. So we're going to be covering that. Thank you, I Am Charlie, who posted a quote of Margaret Thatcher about the problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. That's what I Am Charlie said. He said he posted that quote from Margaret Thatcher, he said. If indeed Thatcher said that. Yes, that is a quote attributed to Margaret Thatcher. All right, so let's what? I actually have a video of Mamdani speaking tonight at a rally. So it's not he didn't speak for that long, but I thought it'd be cool to show you this. Hold on a second. It's too bad that I don't know if they are all doing rallies, but I don't have access to if all the candidates were doing rallies right now and I had access to it, I would just show it to you. But I haven't seen any of that. Now maybe they're doing private events or something, but I don't have anything I can show you from those. But I do have this to show you. Here it is. Here it is. Hold on a second. Let me pull this up on the screen for you. Now, this was this tonight, and this was in New York City. Where was this? I'm looking it up from Reuters. It was. Where is the information from Reuters on this particular clip? USA election Mamdani. This was in Queens, New York. Queens, New York. So I'm gonna show this to you right now. Where did my page go? Where did my election page go? There it is. All right, there he is. Let me get this on the screen for you. So you can hear him. So I need to put up on the screen, I needed to say, earlier tonight, Queens, New York, in New York City. And I need to put this up here. There it is. Eamon O'Leary, that's so nice of you, Eamon. I really appreciate that. Wow. Eamon posted a quote supposedly from Reagan, which said government's view of the economy could be summed up in a few short phrases. If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And if it stops moving, subsidize it. Eamon, thank you so much for your support. That's really nice of you. Trouser Skidmark says, I mean, people will leave if it happens, but we'll see tomorrow. It'll be an experiment to see on the big stage. Dr. Michael Lee says, Trump also bought 10% of Intel. How is that not socialism? Mon says, MAGA's going to be mad. All right, so here, let's play what Zohran Mamdani said a short while ago in Queens, New York. I got to get this going here. Hold on. One moment. Oh, I think she's about to introduce him right here. All right. This was earlier tonight in Queens. Before I hit play, can I just thank the mods one more time? Janet B. is modding. Ruth Krafasi is modding on YouTube. Huge thanks. On Twitch, Good Luck Duck, Idaho Star, and Matthew Kohai, 3 big thanks. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Kay Lowry Body, Christina Neal, Margaret Riley on Facebook, thank you. Paul Anderson as well. And a reminder, we will have our big election night stream tomorrow night. All right, let's play some of Zohran Mamdani from a few hours ago.
So with that, it is my immense honor to introduce my absolute incredible colleague and champion and fighter, Zohran Mamdani.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here with all of you today, to be here alongside our borough president, our deputy majority leader, our state senator, our city councilwoman, and countless volunteers who are here for the final night of canvassing before the election. We know what is on the ballot, but I want to take a moment to speak about who is on the ballot tonight. Donald Trump just put out a statement encouraging New Yorkers, saying they must vote for Andrew Cuomo. We know and have known for months that Donald Trump would favor Andrew Cuomo is the mayor. They share the same donors. They share the same small vision. They share the same sense of impunity. And yet in these final days, what was rumored, what was feared has become naked and unabashed. The MAGA movement's embrace of Andrew Cuomo is reflective of Donald Trump's understanding that this would be the best mayor for him. Not the best mayor for New York City, not the best mayor for New Yorkers, but the best mayor for Donald Trump as his administration. And for all those who question the feasibility of fighting for working people, we speak often about free buses, which costs about $700 million. I would invite you to look at another man who endorsed Andrew Cuomo today, Elon Musk. Elon Musk, for whom it only took $959 million in tax breaks from Andrew Cuomo when he was the governor for his pet projects to get that endorsement. Yep. More money than it would cost to make every single bus free in this city. So the question is not how we will pay for it, but whether we want to pay for it.
Yes.
And so we know, as you all go out tonight to knock on doors, that the New Yorkers you will find on the other side are New Yorkers who are increasingly feeling afraid of their own place in this city. New Yorkers who question whether they can send their children to school, whether they will be able to afford the next rent hike, whether they can actually get groceries with these SNAP cuts. New Yorkers who know that they are under attack from twin crises of an authoritarian administration on one side and the affordability crisis on the other. And as much focus as there is on polls and on predictions, I want you all to raise your hands for me one last time. If every person who is here to canvass can put their hands in the air, because these are the hands that will decide this election. These are the hands that will cast votes. These are the hands that will knock on doors. These are the hands that will call your neighbors. And these are the hands that have brought us to this point of making history in this city. Making history to show that when you focus and fight for working people, you can in fact remake the politics of the place that you call home. And I want to thank every person that's here, because though it is tempting in electoral politics to ascribe an achievement to an individual, it is actually of a collective. And you are all the people who made that collective real. You are the New Yorkers who were with me this morning at 6, and the New Yorkers who are with me this evening at 7. The New Yorkers who have been standing alongside this fight for more than a year. And the reason that the President of the United States of America, the reason that one of the wealthiest men in the world are both trying to get involved at the last minute is that they know we will accomplish everything we have run on. That is what they fear. They fear the power of an example that can show that it need not be this hard to call this city home. It need not be this hard to afford to live in these 5 boroughs. And I thank you because you are on the verge of sharing that example with the world. So hold on to that example tonight. Hold on to it when you're going 10 consecutive not homes in your canvas. Hold on when you're in that second hour and you're asking yourself, should I walk up this 6th flight of stairs? Hold on to it when a person opens their door just a little bit and they show you the despair that they have long associated with politics. Hold on to it because you could open their eyes to a world that they have not seen in this city for so long. And as tempting as it is to think that everyone has been paying attention to this race, just last week a friend of mine, Charlie, knocked on doors in Hell's Kitchen, and he shared afterwards that he met a man who had yet to hear of this campaign. You may find a New Yorker for whom you are the person that introduces them to this fight. And that is why more important than me is you. You are the people who are bringing this fight to the doorsteps of New Yorkers. I will never be able to thank you enough for the privilege of being a part of this movement. And now, with close to just 24 hours until the polls close, let us leave everything out there on the field, my friends. Let us do it together. Let us work so hard this evening and tomorrow that we never have to ask ourselves the question, what if? Let that never be the words that leave our mouth, and let us instead breathe in the victory that each and every one of you have brought forth in this city. Thank you so much.
Zohran, what would your victory say to Donald Trump and to members of your own party who fear that your politics will harm the party in 26 and 28?
Stand in front of the mic, please.
Everybody, yes. How are we all doing? Better? Okay.
This way.
Don't worry, guys. It's the last night. Donald Trump ran a presidential campaign with the promise of cheaper groceries. Donald Trump ran a presidential campaign committing to lowering the cost of living. What our success will show is that it is not enough to diagnose the despair in working class Americans' lives. You have to actually deliver on the agenda. And that is what we intend to do each and every day while we are in office.
What about the relations of members of your own party about your politics?
Look, if you're a member of my own party like Andrew Cuomo, I'd understand why you wouldn't support our politics. Because it's a direct challenge to everything that this former governor has stood for. A politics of impunity, a politics of selling out working class people at the behest of his billionaire donors, and a politics of telling New Yorkers what they can't do when really what they mean to say is what they won't do.
Jeremy, Assembly member, I know you just said that this is more naked and abashing for your words than previous associations you men. Were you at all surprised to see the president go this far in front of Governor Cuomo? And then also, how do you reckon, I know you've made your own pushes into voter bases that have supported Trump in 2020 or even earlier. So how do you reckon with your own appeals to Trump voters and Cuomo?
I will always speak to every New Yorker who calls the city home. And while I'm looking to speak to Donald Trump's voters, Andrew Cuomo is looking to speak to Donald Trump's donors. That's the difference here. These are New Yorkers who voted for the president in the hopes of having a lower cost of living, and who instead found that their despair was exploited as a means by which to deliver the political prosecution of Donald Trump's enemies and the enacting of the single largest deportation force in American history. Now, we knew in the primary that Andrew Cuomo was being funded by the same billionaire donors that gave us Donald Trump's second term. I did not, however, anticipate Andrew Cuomo going from being Donald Trump's puppet to being so nakedly his parrot. What he has said in these last few days, these are words that should shock the conscience of New Yorkers. He has said that diversity is a weakness, while forgetting which black host of the TV show he was on he was actually speaking to. He has laughed and agreed when a radio show host said that I would cheer on another 9/11. He has stood alongside the current mayor of the city as that mayor said that he was endorsing Andrew Cuomo to stop a movement that was burning churches in Nigeria, to stop New York City from becoming Europe. And as Deputy Majority Leader Mike Gianaris said, for Andrew Cuomo's closing message to be a call for Republicans to support him, it shows what
of the city.
Hold on, there's about I think about 1 minute more of his appearance tonight, and I have it. I just have to play the other clip. So give me 1 second, and I'll play the remaining. I think it's about a minute of his appearance. So I'm clicking it right now.
We have long known, but what he was able to hide while he was in Albany, which is that Andrew Cuomo is interested more in his own power than in living up to the ideals that make so many New Yorkers proud to be Democrats.
All right, we're going to go Michael right here.
Assemblyman, in his post, Donald Trump very specifically threatened to withhold federal funds, that it is highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds other than the very minimum to New York City. If you are elected, that is a very real threat that you're going to have to deal with. How will you address that after you're elected if you win?
I will address that threat for what it is. It is a threat. It is not the law. And too often we treat everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth as if it is already legal just by virtue of who is saying it. And it is time to finally stand up to the bullies that make these threats, not to become the bullies ourselves. And we've seen time and time again that the best way to respond to Donald Trump and to defeat these kinds of threats is to actually stand up and fight back. You've seen leaders across this country who have shown their unwillingness to compromise on their own morals and their own values as the way in which they fight back. And too often what we found in New York City is instead a willingness to capitulate and coordinate. And all of this with the most collaborative mayor you could find for Donald Trump in New York City, still the Trump administration was detaining New Yorkers as young as 6. Still, the Trump administration was cutting funding from our schools. Still, the Trump administration was taking $80 million out of our city's budget, and still, the Trump administration was threatening $18 billion in cuts for infrastructure projects. My point here is that even with that collaboration, the threats continue. And so it teaches us all that it's time to actually stand up and name this authoritarian crisis for what it is, and to speak about this funding as not something that Donald Trump is giving us here in New York City. This is something that we are in fact owed in New York City.
Zohran,
Thank you guys.
There you go. So that was an appearance earlier this evening by Zohran Mamdani. What is going to happen in New York tomorrow? Mamdani has been leading in the polls, but as I said, a lot of those polls don't have him getting 50%. We'll have to see what happens. He doesn't have to get 50% to win. You just have to get the most votes to win tomorrow. So we'll have to see what happens. We did a poll earlier. You guys think he's going to win, the majority of you. We will have to see. We will have to see. And I want to talk about some of the other races. We've only talked about New York City mayor so far. Our viewers have some different views, have some diverging views. Krakow says Mamdani mandate, but Karen G says, please NYC, no Mamdani. The hooligan says he will win. Jewish Pickle says, I do not think he will win. Christopher Young says, 2/3 of NYC rent is too high. People have snapped. Flannelin says New York is doomed. Tanky thinks people of NYC will touch the stove and find out how hot it is. All right. Let's talk about... We haven't talked at all about the other races. I want to talk about New Jersey and Virginia next. New Jersey and Virginia. We should talk about Virginia next. The Virginia race. You know, the current governor of Virginia is a Republican, Glenn Youngkin. He won back in 2021. But in Virginia, you can't serve twice in a row. You cannot serve 2 terms in a row in Virginia as governor. So they're having another election. Greg Muse thinks Spanberger will win. Too many people lost their jobs. So we have Abigail Spanberger is running on the Democratic side, and my brain stopped working. It is Winsome Earle-Sears. The lieutenant governor is running as the Republican. Now, this is a race where Spanberger has been ahead in the polls. But as I said before, people are not just going to be looking at who wins these races, but they're going to be looking at what the... one thing people will be looking at is what the margin of victory it is, because people will be trying to look into what this might mean for next year's election, next year's midterm elections. Evelyn says Virginia race is drawing national attention as a bellwether for 2026 midterms. Let's talk about Virginia, shall we? We haven't talked about it yet. Bay Photo says Virginia is that off-year election that pundits always look to. There There's Spanberger right there. And Earle-Sears. Spanberger on the right, Earle-Sears to the left. Hey, thanks to Elijah for your support, by the way. Oops, we don't need the Queen's thing up. Thanks, Elijah. Thanks also, I Am Charlie. Hey, thanks, I Am Charlie. And Erin McCune, thanks to our member, Erin McCune. Let's talk about this for a bit. Oops, I don't need, that's not Zohran Mamdani. I don't need that up there either. Okay. Virginia will elect its first woman as governor tomorrow, as Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earle-Sears and Democratic U.S. Representative Abigail Spanberger look to replace term-limited Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin. Voters will also decide races for Lieutenant Governor, Attorney General, and the State House of Delegates. Virginia and New Jersey are both holding. It says Virginia is one of two. Is holding one of two elections for governor of the year this year. The other one is in New Jersey. Historically, the races in Virginia and New Jersey in the year following a presidential election have been closely watched on a national level as a barometer of how voters are feeling about the party holding the White House. Spanberger has held a financial advantage throughout the campaign, bringing in about $66 million compared to $35 million for Earle-Sears. The race for lieutenant governor features Democratic state lawmaker Ghazala Hashmi of Richmond and Republican talk radio show host John Reed. Reed's campaign got off to a rocky start when Governor Youngkin called on him to withdraw from the race after allegations surfaced linking Reed to a social media account containing sexually explicit photos. Reed has denied any involvement with the account. Oh, and then one of our viewers mentioned the Attorney General race. Controversy has also swirled in the race for Virginia Attorney General, where Republican incumbent Jason Miyares seeks a second term. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. His challenger is former Democratic state delegate Jay Jones, who in text messages from 2022 suggested, among other things, that a prominent Republican lawmaker get 2 bullets to the head. Jones has apologized for the messages, but the issue has been a major topic, not only in the race for Attorney General, but also at the top of the ticket. Earle-Sears has criticized Spanberger on the campaign trail and in television ads for not calling on Jones to withdraw from the race. Voters will also determine which party will control the closely divided Virginia State House of Delegates, where Democrats hold a 51-48 seat majority with 1 seat vacant. The state Senate is not up for election this year. Virginia, says AP, has undergone a political realignment in the last 20 years, driven largely by population growth in the Washington, D.C. suburbs in Northern Virginia, which has favored Democrats. The area is home to a concentration of federal workers, some of whom are now furloughed because of the government shutdown or lost their jobs as part of the Trump administration's efforts to slash the federal workforce. Republican presidential candidates carried Virginia in 10 consecutive elections from 1968 to 2004, but Democrats have prevailed in the 5 elections since. Despite the recent streak, Kamala Harris won Virginia with a relatively modest 52% of the vote in 2024. Virginia voters tend to be less party loyal when it comes to state offices, as the governorship has changed party 7 times over the last 60 years. Interesting. Look at this. Starting in 1976 in Virginia, every time a party has won back control of the White House, Virginia voters have elected a governor from the opposing party the following year. And in 11 of the last 12 gubernatorial elections in Virginia, the winner of the Virginia governorship has been from a different party than the incumbent president. The polls close at 7 p.m. We're going to come on before 7 p.m. tomorrow, but the polls in Virginia close at 7 p.m. I believe that's earlier than both New York and New Jersey. And then if you want to know how polls are looking in this Virginia governor race, let me show you on the DD Decision Desk HQ votes site, which I have purchased access to. This site is in beta. They're developing this site, very exciting. I appreciate them letting me buy the rights to show it to you and use it for tomorrow. If we go to Virginia governor right here, see it says Abigail Spanberger versus Winsome Earle-Sears. And if we go to, you can see right now, first of all, I just want to mention on the bottom here, they have markets. Can you see down at the bottom there? It says Kalshi. On Kalshi, Spanberger has 96% odds to win, and on Polymarket, Spanberger has 97.9 odds to win percent. I'd like to get that. Well, it says 96. It actually says 98.1% now. I knew you can barely see it down there, but that's what it says. I can show it to you this way. Hold on. Oof, I was going to show it to you that way. One sec. Let me get it up on the screen for you. Right here. There, you can see it now. Right here. Polymarket, Spanberger, 98.1% chance. Kalshi, Spanberger, 96% chance. And let's show you some of the recent polling in this Virginia governor's race. For example, oh no, that's not it. We need Virginia governor. There it is. Insider advantage, November 2nd and 3rd. Oops. Insider advantage, recent poll, November 2nd and 3rd. Spanberger 50, Spanberger basically up by 10%. Research Co., November 2nd and 3rd. Spanberger up by 8%. Qantas Insights, November 3rd. Spanberger up by about 9%. Trafalgar Group, November 1st and 2nd. Spanberger up by 6.5%. Then you have this one up by 11%, up by 11, up by 11, up by 8.5, up by 10. Oop, you're missing the bottom there. But you get the idea of the recent polling there. But people will, even if Spanberger wins as expected, people will also really look into what the margin of victory is. I don't even know what the, let's see here. I haven't looked at the polling on the Virginia House. I need to look into that. They have all these different polls, or they have all these different, do they have polls for these races? There's all these different Virginia House races. Anyways, let me take some of your comments about this. Let's take some of your comments. I need to get back to this. You can also see there how the polling has, developed over time. Maybe I should do it this way. There. In this race. It's been a pretty consistent lead since the beginning of the year for Spanberger. Oh yeah, we'll be talking about Proposition 50. I'll talk about that a little later on this program. Jaded Jago says, headed in for a Spanberger vote tomorrow. You know, I saw something posted about tonight. Oh, let me show you what Trump had to say about this. About this race. Yeah, we're going to talk about the New Jersey race. Trump said about the Virginia race. Again, the two governors' races this year are New Jersey and Virginia. New Jersey and Virginia are the two governors' races. All right, here's what Trump had to say about New Jersey and Virginia. He said a couple things today. First of all, he said, why would anyone vote for New Jersey and Virginia gubernatorial candidates Mikie Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger when they want transgender for everybody, men playing in women's sports, high crime, and the most expensive energy prices almost anywhere in the world. Vote Republican for massive energy cost reductions, large-scale tax cuts, and basic common sense. Under President Trump, gasoline will come down to approximately $2 a gallon very soon. With the Democrats, you'll be paying $4, $5, and $6 a gallon, and your electric and other energy costs will likewise soar. Vote Republican for a great and very affordable life. All you'll get from voting Democrat is unrelentingly high crime, energy prices through the roof, men playing in women's sports, and heartache. He also posted something else about this race today. Virginia and New Jersey. Vote Republican if you want massive energy cost and crime reductions. The Democrats, the Democrats will double and even triple your energy costs. He's really hitting the energy costs. And crime will be rampant. A vote for the Democrats is a death wish. Vote Republican. But that's not his only poll. He actually posted another post about Virginia and New Jersey today. Here's another one. For all those people voting in New Jersey and Virginia for governor, attorney general, or any other position, please remember this. A Republican vote means a drastic drop in energy prices and energy costs, a drop like you've never seen before. A Democrat vote means a doubling and even tripling of your energy bills and prices. Traditionally the highest cost of an American citizen. So if you vote Republican, your energy costs are going to go down tremendously. If you vote Democrat, your energy costs are going to go through the roof, making energy virtually unaffordable for you and your family to pay. Also remember, if you don't go to the polls and vote, it's the same thing as voting for a Democrat. So go to the polls and cut your energy costs in half. Those are all from today. But that's not all. There's another one from today. Hey, look, here's another one from today. I'll show you right now. Here's another one from President Trump today. Virginia and New Jersey. Remember this. A vote for Republican means substantially lower energy prices. A vote for a Democrat, especially these two losers who are running, means a doubling, tripling, and even quadrupling of your energy costs. It will not be sustainable, and you will rue the day that you voted to destroy your life. Failing to vote tomorrow is the same as voting for a Democrat, and then he gives a link to find your voting place. Those are all from today. Are there more today about New Jersey and Virginia? I have to go back and look. Maybe that's it for today from his posts. I have to scroll back. He endorsed a lot of Congress people in his post today. Okay, I think that's it for his post today on Virginia and New Jersey. You can see how much he's emphasizing energy costs, though. There's been a number of articles out about energy costs being an important issue. For example, NBC News had an article about a month ago about how the energy prices issue could play a big role in Virginia and New Jersey, and also the midterms. I was trying to find a little summary here of the energy of the statistics on energy. They do say, for example, in the article NBC News, that New Jersey has experienced some of the largest electricity bill hikes recently in recent years on a percentage basis. Oh, I have something else I can show you about this, I think. Hold on a second. See if I can pull this up. That would be nice. Can I pull this up for you? I can mention it here. Oh, right here, I got it. Look at this. Look at this right here. This is just what I was talking about to you. President Trump posted about energy a bunch of times today. Look at this article from a few days ago from AP. Debate over energy costs fuels clear divide in New Jersey and Virginia governor's races. Whoa. Yes, we showed you the recent polling in Virginia of the governor's race, and that recent polling has Spanberger, just to go over it again, some of these. Hold on. Spanberger by 10, Spanberger by 8, Spanberger by 9, Spanberger by 6.5, Spanberger by 11, Spanberger by 10, Spanberger by 8.5. That's all from the last week or two. The last week, basically. I want to show you some of this, but I want to take some of your comments here too. Skybreeze says Virginia had a Republican governor for the past 4 years. Yes, again, you cannot you cannot serve twice in a row in Virginia. It's interesting. R. Jank says right now in Northern Virginia, gas prices are $2.79 a gallon, not for long with Abigail. Ponicus says bills are climbing because of Trump policies and they want to vote for more of it. You can see here, AP says if there's agreement on anything in the two states with governor's races this year, it's that utility bills are a growing concern among voters. That something must be done is pretty much where the agreement ends. It's what must be done that splits politicians back into rival camps. By the way, just to show you, a New Jersey resident said his electric bill has climbed to nearly $400 a month, or more than 4 times what it was, he said, a half century ago, I guess. But a lot of people complaining about their electricity bills and energy bills in Virginia and New Jersey. Democratic candidates in Virginia and New Jersey are far more likely to embrace clean energy options like wind and solar than their Republican opponents. The two states' Republican nominees are more closely aligned with the policies of President Trump, who has called climate change a con job and promotes more traditional energy sources like gas and coal. New Jersey Republican nominee Jack Ciattarelli has acknowledged that human-caused climate change is occurring, but he says Democrats have driven up costs with their clean energy push. AP says this feels destined to be an emerging economic issue heading into next year's midterm elections. Also, there's data centers are part of this issue. The debate comes as people in New Jersey and Virginia grapple with double-digit percentages increases in monthly electricity bills. The exploding costs are driven by soaring demand, particularly from data centers, and the rapid onset of energy-intensive artificial intelligence technology. In Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger and Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earle-Sears are at odds over the development of renewable energy resources. Spanberger has laid out a plan to expand solar and wind production in underused locations. Winsome Earle-Sears, Republican, says that's all she wants, solar and wind. Well, if you look outside, the sun isn't shining and the breeze isn't blowing, and then what, Abigail, will you do? In New Jersey, the governor candidate Jack Ciattarelli blames rising costs on 8 years of Democratic control of state government. He says he would pull New Jersey out of a regional greenhouse gas trading bloc. He says it's been a failure. Ciattarelli has also come out as a strident opponent of wind energy off New Jersey's coast. Mikie Sherrill, the Democrat running in New Jersey, at the center of her campaign promise on the issue is an executive order to freeze rates and build cheaper and cleaner power generation. So, this could be a significant issue in the midterms. And look, President Trump, as I just showed you, several of his posts today centered when he told Virginia and New Jersey voters they should vote for Republican. Several of his posts just completely focused basically on the energy issue. So clearly President Trump thinks it's an important issue for the voters in those states. I am not an expert on energy policy in those two states, by the way. Adam's mom says, in my area of Virginia, we don't want wind or solar because they are taking farmland needed to grow food for them. Progressively Independent says, go solar and your bills will be much cheaper. Top Shelf Oats thinks renewable energy is the future. The technology is already here. Mike Vulcan says 40% of Virginia's energy is going to data centers. I don't know if that's true. I cannot confirm, but I also don't know that it's false either. I need to do some more reading on the whole data center thing. The Economist actually had an article this week saying the data center backlash is brewing in America. But the subheadline says, but don't blame them for higher electricity bills, at least not yet. By the way, The Economist does point out that data centers consume 5% of America's electricity, up from 2% a decade ago. Also, average power bills in the U.S. are up 40% since 2019, well above inflation. I'll have to read more of this article later. Gundru says, gotta sacrifice for your overlord AI. Our viewer, Crispy, says, nuclear power, in my opinion, is the best way to, where did it go, Crispy, your comment? To keep up with the energy that we're going to need. By the way, we haven't even specifically talked about New Jersey. We should talk about New Jersey a bit too. So, I think the common, we don't know. Oh, I should show you the Attorney General race. So I showed you that Spanberger, the Democrat, has been leading pretty by a fair amount, 8-10% or whatever, things like that in recent polls. But the Democratic Attorney General candidate, had this text messaging scandal. So do I have the polling for that race? Virginia Attorney General, is that here? Let's see. Here it is. Virginia Attorney General. Is there polling on it, though? Well, that's the race. Virginia, Jason Miyares, the incumbent, and Jay Jones, the Democrat, polling. So these have been quite close, this polling. And before I get to that, just to accurately describe the issue. Hold on. Oh, I have something about it right here. Hold on. So this is an article from like a month ago from AP. Trump's GOP seizes on violent rhetoric from Virginia's AG candidate as high-stakes elections loom. The clash over Jay Jones' violent rhetoric shared in a 2022 private text message exchange published, this was in October, I think early October. Sorry, I want to show you what it says about the specifics here. Jones has apologized repeatedly for the violent rhetoric he used in text messages he sent to a Republican lawmaker in 2022 about former Virginia House Speaker Todd Gilbert. In the text, Jones wrote, 3 people, 2 bullets, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Pol Pot was the leader of the murderous Khmer Rouge regime in Cambodia. Jones did not hold elected office when he sent the messages. He had formerly served as a state legislator and stepped down in 2021 before launching his bid for state attorney general. So anyways, that's been problematic for Jay Jones, the Democratic candidate. And as you can see in the polling, while Spanberger has a significant lead in the governor's race, the Democrat Spanberger, if you look at the polling for the attorney general's race. Where was it? I just had it here. Right here. Virginia Attorney General. See? And if you look here, it looks, according to the polling chart from Decision Desk HQ, around, when was this? Around when this scandal happened in early October, look at what happens. The red line overtakes the blue line, which means in recent polling for the last month, as the scandal has developed over the texting, the violent texts, the Republican has actually began to lead in the attorney general race. And if we go down here, we can show you more. Oops. So like recent polling, well, one recent poll from today has the Democrat Jones up by 0.5%. I mean, that's super close. Another one today, the last 2 days, has Jones up by 2%, but Trafalgar Group recent poll has the Republican up by 0.8%. Another recent poll has the Republican up by 3%. I mean, if you just look at the last, week of polls, some have the Democrat leading, some have Republican leading. So that looks like it's going to be a close race, possibly. So we'll be keeping an eye on that race as well. Hey, thanks to I Am Charlie. That's really nice of you, I Am Charlie. Thank you. Let's see here. Harmless Mouse says, hell of a thing to say, but also you can't depend on personal texts to not get dug up against you. Rough both ways. I think I said that wrong. I think Harmless Mouse said, hell of a thing to say, but also, you can't depend on personal text to not get dug up against you. Rough both ways. Genie in a Bottle of Rum says, it's not like he said it when he was a teenager. Nicholas S. says, I thought we liked violent politicians in America. Brutal X Barbie thinks Jay Jones is a sick man. All right, should we talk about New Jersey governor? Should we talk about New Jersey governor? Let's do that. We have not talked about that yet. It's New Jersey governor race time to talk about it. Let's pull that one up. We will be doing a stream tomorrow night. We're going to have coverage of all the races. Well, not every single race in the country, but all the major races. Hey, look, there it is. Jack Ciattarelli, a Republican versus Mikie Sherrill, Democrat. Now, we'll show you the recent polling for this. Jack Ciattarelli is a very pro-Trump candidate. You can see Zachary Danini of Decision Desk HQ says, building on Donald Trump's strong showing in New Jersey in 2024, Republican Jack Ciattarelli has gained traction in his challenge to Representative Mikie Sherrill. While Sherrill has maintained a narrow lead in public polling, and early voting has looked reasonably favorable for Democrats, two recent surveys showing her ahead by just 1 point have fueled late interest in the race. And if you look up here, I will pull it up over here. If you look at the betting markets, Kalshi has Mikie Sherrill as an 84% chance to win. And Polymarket has Mikie Sherrill as, when it comes up, I'll show you, an 85% chance to win. Lattes and Lux thinks Jack Ciattarelli cannot win New Jersey. He will destroy the state. Let's talk more about this. Hold on a second here. Let me show you the polling in this race. So here is from Decision Desk HQ votes. Here is recent polling in this race. I like having these recent polls to look at. Okay, there we got some coming up right there. Oh, and just so you can see the chart, you can see that the chart starts in May, at the end of May, and the Democratic Sherrill has maintained this lead, but the lead, according to the polls, seems to have gotten closer in the last month or two, lesser in the last month or two. So if I pull up these polls here, what you can see is recent polling. So there's one from recent Research Co. had it as a 2-point race just in the last couple days. John Zogby poll had it as a 11.5-point race in recent days. So those polls are quite different from each other. Atlas Intel had it as basically a 1% race last week. Suffolk University had it as a 4-point race last week. SoCal Strategies had it as a 7-point rate last week. YouGov recent poll had it as 9%. So some differences in the polling there in New Jersey. Michael Avery says spicy. Aaron Wolf says, let's make this Ciattarelli's third loss for the New Jersey governorship. Has he run 2 other times? I didn't even know this. Can find out. There he is on Wikipedia. Jack Ciattarelli. He was in the New Jersey General Assembly from 2011 to 2018. He was a Republican nominee in 2021. It says he ran in 2021. He outperformed expectations in 2021, but lost to incumbent Governor Phil Murphy. In 2021, Jack Ciattarelli lost to Murphy by about 3% in New Jersey. And then what was the President Trump in the 2024 election in New Jersey? I forget the margin of victory. I have to look it up. 2024. Yeah, it was only about 6% for Harris. Whereas in 2020, Biden won New Jersey by 16%. But then Harris won New Jersey by about 6% in 2024. So let me take some comments from you on this New Jersey race, another race we're going to be keeping an eye on tomorrow. And like, again, it's not just about who wins. I mean, obviously for the people of New Jersey, the most important thing is who wins. But at the same time, you know, if it's super close, that'll be seen as a positive sign for Republicans. But if it's like a big blowout, that'll be seen as more of a positive sign for Democrats. There they are in the debate, Ciattarelli and Sherrill. Jacoby James thinks Mamdani will save America? That's what Jacoby James said. Whereas Josh says Mamdani's policies are not based in reality. They're talking about the current favorite to win the New York City mayor's race, Zohran Mamdani, who we talked about earlier. You can see here, New Jersey's voters will decide a competitive race for governor, says AP, in a contest that will be viewed through the prism of national politics regardless of who wins. Democrat Mikie Sherrill and Republican Jack Ciattarelli are the nominees to seat term-limited Democratic Governor Phil Murphy. Sherrill is a four-term U.S. representative and former Navy helicopter pilot. Ciattarelli is a former state assemblyman who came within about 3 percentage points of toppling Murphy in 2021. President Trump endorsed him. He recently spoke on Ciattarelli's behalf during a telephone town hall. New Jersey is one of 2 states holding an election for governor tomorrow. Historically, the races in New Jersey and Virginia have been closely watched on a national level as a possible indicator of voter sentiment toward the party holding the White House. In New Jersey, voters elected a governor from the opposite party of the sitting president in every election from 1989 to 2017. That streak was broken in 2021. Also, no party has held the New Jersey governorship for more than 3 consecutive terms since the 1960s. Those polls close at 8 p.m. tomorrow in New Jersey, 8 p.m. We're going to talk also about California tonight, the California Proposition 50. Oh yeah, Lattes and Lux talked about Obama appearing. I think Obama appeared for both. Didn't Obama appear both for Sherrill and Spanberger, if I have this right? Let's see if I have it here. I think maybe when we were covering the... Oh, I actually have here. I can show you... I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I should actually have video from Obama campaigning for Sherrill. Maybe I can just show you a little bit of that. If you give me a second here. can figure out where he came out, I'll show you. Okay, I'm going to pull this right now for you. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I just figure I can play a little bit of it. And then Obama he also appeared for, do I have that here too? But I think he did rallies for both. I have to make sure. Yeah, and there's literally a story with him doing a Spanberger rally. That's from Reuters. You can see there. Sunday story. Yeah, Obama touted Democratic candidates for governor in 2 states at campaign rallies on Saturday. He appeared at a rally for Virginia gubernatorial candidate Abigail Spanberger and New Jersey candidate Mikie Sherrill. Green Neck says, I can get behind Sherrill. She is moderate. All right, I have right now, this is from Reuters, this video. So this is a video of, I think it's the end of Sherrill speaking. This was, what was this, Saturday or Sunday? Saturday? Saturday. And then this was in, hold on. In Newark, New Jersey. So I'll let you see a little bit of this. I don't know if I have access to a Ciattarelli speech. If I show you also, if I do, I'll have a few minutes. I'll show you a couple minutes of that. But there's Mikie Sherrill right there. So I think right around now is where she introduces Obama. I think. We'll watch and see.
Feels that way too. Courage to make change, to take on special interests, the status quo, the systems that aren't working, to deliver for people, for families, to give every kid a shot. So, anger and courage are the daughters of hope. And I know someone here tonight who knows a little bit about He knows hope is not passive, blind optimism, but an active, stubborn belief that a better future is possible if we work hard and fight for it. So, New Jersey, are you ready to work? Are you ready to fight hard for our future? Are you ready to make sure that every single one of your neighbors, your friends, your frenemies head to the polls between now and Tuesday? That's what I thought. Nope, that's what I knew. Because I know the fight that defines our state. And New Jersey, I'm ready too. So, would you help me give a very loud New Jersey welcome to the 44th President of the United States of America.
I have to stop the music. I can't play the copyrighted music. So that was Mikie Sherrill introducing former President Obama. I'm not going to play his whole speech. I'll play like a minute or two of him speaking. I just wanted you guys to be able to see some of this. This was from Saturday. Is the music still playing on there? Let's see. Let's see if the music's still playing. Yes, the music is still playing. Hold on. He did 2 rallies. He did a rally for Mikie Sherrill, and he did one for Spanberger in Virginia as well on Saturday.
To be back in Jersey, good to be back. I love you, Bob. I love you. Oh, that's a good-looking crowd right here. It is good to be back. It is good to be back in Jersey. Good to be back in Newark. You know, I just came from a rally down in Virginia. They were kind of loud, but they definitely got some competition right here. Mikie Sherrill will get you excited. That's what happens. You also may be a little hopped up on that Halloween candy. I love you back. But you have a candidate worth being excited about. You got a future governor to be excited about in Mikie Sherrill. Now, first things first, we got to handle some logistics here. Just in case you have not heard, if you have not voted yet, tomorrow is the last day of early voting in New Jersey. And if you can't vote early, you've got to make a plan to do it on Election Day, November 4th. You can go to nj.gov/vote to find out where, if you don't know. And then you've got to get all your friends and your family and that cousin who's lying on the couch. Greg, just go, come on. Get him off the couch. Because in 3 days, we've got the chance to elect a leader who's going to help build a better, stronger, brighter future for New Jersey. And Lord knows we need that light. We need that inspiration because, let's face it, our country and our politics are in a pretty dark place right now. So it is. It is. No, don't worry. It's hard to know where to start because every day this White House offers up a fresh batch of lawlessness and carelessness and mean-spiritedness and just plain old craziness. We've got a president who thinks it's okay to use the Justice Department, just for example, to use the Justice Department to go after his political opponents. And wait. Here's a rule. You can't boo. You got to vote. They won't hear you if you're booing, but they'll hear your vote.
All right, so that was a little of former President Obama talking for Mikie Sherrill on Saturday. I wanted to just show you what was going on with that. If you want to see the whole speech, I'm sure you can find it online somewhere. And he did appear for Abigail Spanberger in Virginia as well. We'll see what happens in New Jersey. Hey guys, you know we haven't talked about yet? The one thing we haven't talked about that I want to talk about was I want to talk about this Proposition 50. Proposition 50 is the referendum in California where California's voters are being asked to approve the redrawing of congressional district maps so that Democrats can likely get 5 more seats in the U.S. House of Representatives, 5 more seats from California. This comes just months after Texas redrew their congressional maps so that Republicans could likely get 5 more seats. Eastern Sierra Sky says this Californian voted yes on 50. So I wanted to just talk for a second about that. Is there polling on that? Let me see here if there's polling on the Decision Desk HQ page. Is it even on there? Has there been, I haven't seen polling on it. I don't see any here. Is there a search? California. Find a race, California. It doesn't seem to be coming up. I don't know that there's been a lot of polling on it. Anyways, we should talk a little bit about that because that's something we're watching for tomorrow. Nicole says no on 50, stop the nonsense and wake up. Where is it here? You can see right here from voterguide.sos, Secretary of State in California. Oops. Prop 50 authorizes temporary changes to congressional district maps in response to Texas's partisan redistricting, legislative constitutional amendment. A yes vote on this measure means the state would use new legislatively drawn congressional district maps starting in 2026. California's new maps would be used until the next state census in 2030. Arguments, pro and con. Pro. Proposition 50, the Election Rigging Response Act, approves temporary emergency congressional district maps to counter President Trump's scheme to rig next year's congressional election and reaffirms California's commitment to independent, nonpartisan redistricting after the next census. Con. Prop 50 was written by politicians for politicians, dismantling safeguards that keep elections fair, removes requirements to keep local communities together, and eliminates voter protections that ban maps designed to favor political parties. Vote no to protect fair elections and keep citizens, not politicians, in charge of redistricting. I'm just reading this from the Voter Information Guide in California. Big Mike says, I can't wait, California for the win. Let's go. Pinball 90 says, no on 50 for sure. Hey, thanks Brian Jones, who says, rest in peace, New York. Thanks, Brian, for your support. Also, thanks to Dances with Wolves, our member, the Demon Dog, our member. And also, E-Biker for subscribing on Twitch. Jax Animals for subscribing on Twitch. Aegon Cholakian Wow for subscribing on Twitch. KCXO for subscribing on Twitch. Man, I got behind on thanking Twitch people today. I'm sorry. Edumakashun, thanks so much for the bits on Twitch. That's really nice of you. Disdaciarian, thanks for subscribing on Twitch. And Warlord Wolf. Here, I'll show you something about Prop 50 right here. California Proposition 50. California voters, says AP, will decide a statewide ballot measure that would enact a new congressional map that could flip as many as 5 Republican-led U.S. House seats to Democratic control. Proposition 50, championed by Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom, is in response to a new Texas map that state Republicans enacted in August as part of Trump's efforts to keep the U.S. House under Republican control in the 2026 midterms. The Texas plan, which could help Republicans flip 5 Democratic-held U.S. House seats, has sparked an escalating gerrymandering arms race among states to pass new maps outside of the regular once-a-decade schedule. Steve Miga says, I think Prop 50 will pass. I predict these things pretty well, just saying. I still see a lot of people talking about NYC in the chat. That seems to be the biggest, I think, nationally. We spent a bunch of time earlier in the stream talk. If you missed it, you can go back and watch it. We spent a bunch of time talking about that race. Oh, by the way, here's a picture of the New Jersey candidates, Mikie Sherrill and Jack Ciattarelli. Battle VR says there are Ciattarelli signs all over South Jersey. He might win. Yab SFBBW says tomorrow is a big day. Pool Fob says Mamdani sweep. So I think with our coverage tomorrow, I mean, the Virginia polls close at 7. So I think the latest we would come on the air is around 6. We're going to be doing the election night stream tomorrow. I hope you can be there. The New York City polls, I think, close at 9. Green Neck says there are great people on both sides. The polls are open until 9 Eastern in New York City. So we'll be there for a while. We'll be here for a while tomorrow night. Loves Cats asked about Massachusetts. I don't believe there are any state elections. My city had a local election in Massachusetts. I don't believe there's state elections. Only 2 states have a governor's election this year: Virginia and in New Jersey. April Coco thinks Mamdani is a phony. Criminy says, make NY bankrupt again. Oh, you know, I saw an article I want to mention. A couple things. Hold on. Where was it here? The Washington Post had an article. A Democratic socialist is poised to become New York mayor. Democrats are nervous. Outside New York, some Democrats are growing anxious. Zohran Mamdani is on the verge of taking Democratic socialism to new heights if he wins election as mayor of the nation's most populous city. By the way, Democratic socialism, let me just give you a definition of that. I don't know if there's one. I was trying to give you a... I mean, people probably define it different ways. For example, on Wikipedia, it says it's a socialist economic and political philosophy that supports political democracy and some form of a socialist, socially owned economy, with a particular emphasis on economic democracy, workplace democracy, and workers' self-management. It gets kind of complex. So it combines in some way socialist economics with democratic political system. That's one basic idea. Known for extensive social welfare programs. Anyways, I'm digressing. I just wanted to mention that. I'm not an expert on democratic socialism. But the Washington Post reports that outside New York, some Democrats are growing anxious. A longtime Democratic strategist told Washington Post, it's one thing for Republicans to use absurd attacks calling Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi socialists to scare voters. But it's another thing to use an actual socialist to scare voters about the Democrats being the party of socialists, and that's the concern about Mamdani. Anxiety over electing a Democratic socialist is especially high in the New York suburbs, New Jersey, Florida, and other regions where a large share of immigrants fled Cuba, Venezuela, and other left-wing regimes. President Trump has sought to fan the flames, says the Washington Post, by falsely labeling Mamdani a communist. While some Democrats say the fears are overblown or outweighed by Mamdani's ability to energize new and young voters, other more moderate lawmakers in battleground districts have distanced themselves from Mamdani, calling his policies unrealistic or out of step with the party or declining to endorse him. Mamdani is one of a handful of prominent left-wing politicians, including Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who identifies as a democratic socialist. The definition of democratic socialism and how much it differs from socialism is the subject of debate, says the Post. It is generally grounded in an opposition to capitalism and aims to reduce inequality via government action while preserving individual freedoms and democratic processes. It is not the same as the authoritarian socialism associated with countries such as the Soviet Union, Cuba, and North Korea. Mamdani backs freezing rent costs for stabilized tenants, making city buses fare-free, providing free public child care, raising the minimum wage to $30 an hour by 2030, and creating city-owned grocery stores that buy and sell in wholesale prices. He wants to pay for them by levying heavy taxes on wealthier residents, which would need to be approved by the state legislature in Albany. This is interesting. Democrats' biggest concerns are closest to home, says the Post. The suburbs of New York City, including parts of New Jersey, are expected to play a key role in Democrats' fight to retake control of the House in the 2026 midterms. The region, which includes many who work in the financial sector, was decisive in 2022 when Republicans flipped several blue congressional seats and gained control of the House with a message focused on immigration and crime. Several of Mamdani's critics in the Democratic Party did commend Mamdani for launching a campaign that has galvanized some of the young voters and voters of color who stayed home or swung toward Trump in the 2024 election. They praised his focus on the issue of affordability, though they rejected many of his policy proposals. Trump has called Mamdani a 100% communist lunatic who wants to destroy New York. Anyways, there has been this, there has been a debate among Democrats about whether they support Mamdani or not, whether this is a good thing for Democrats or not. There's as the article talks about, you have him energizing a lot of voters, but some Democrats are worried that he could turn off people who might otherwise vote for Democrats. Roberson, our viewer, thinks something has to be done about prices in cities. It is a capitalist playground where everyone else loses. 66 Modal says mass exodus out of NYC. Jazzy Renee says, oh, yikes. Millionaires having to pay their fair share of taxes. Scary. Crispy says, in my opinion, they're going to leave that state. Jeff Dietz says, if you vote for Mamdani, you better not move. Rough out your choices like an adult. John Kovac thinks there's irrational fear-mongering about Mamdani, if I'm interpreting that correctly. Paramp says, millionaires already pay many more taxes than any of you do. Hey, thanks Whitney Katz for your support. I appreciate that, Whitney Katz. So we got a bunch of races to cover. I really do think for a lot of people the one they're most interested in is the Mamdani race. But look, I mean, again, New Jersey and Virginia, as we've talked about, races there are going to be seen as maybe a sign of how the country is feeling about the Trump administration. So we'll have to see how those turn out. That race in California, Prop 50. One of our viewers said, I'm going to have to read up on the Seattle mayor race. I know nothing about Seattle mayor race. It's Bruce Harrell and Katie Wilson. I'll have to I know nothing about it. I got to read up on it. But we'll be covering various things tomorrow. Juzbo thinks the stench of desperation on Cuomo is impalpable. All right, so I think we've kind of just done some basic coverage of the most prominent races, yeah, I just want to come on and do a little preview. I think it might be time to wrap up our preview though. But I really hope you guys can come and join. Come to the stream tomorrow night. I hope you can be there with me. David Schwab, our viewer, says Trump is at 39% approval, 57% disapproval. Not a great time to be running red. That's what our viewer David Schwab said. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in to our preview, our election preview. I am excited tomorrow night to make use of our Decision Desk HQ votes map website thing, which I did pay for, but they were nice. It's a beta thing. It's not even really publicly available yet, but they're letting me use it. So we'll be looking at the election maps tomorrow night and looking at different things, and and we'll see how things go and odds and all of that and analysis. So I hope you can be here tomorrow. Come join us. And also I'm sure we'll have tomorrow night campaign speeches. We'll hear the candidates speak. So we'll be playing that stuff too as the night goes along. Maybe President Trump will be live posting on Truth Social. So join me tomorrow. I really appreciate you joining the stream. If you'd like, subscribe, follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. If there's big news tonight or tomorrow before the election, I will cover it. And I will post updates if I see them about this or other stories on my X account, which is @Lookner on X. @Lookner. I will post a link in the chat to that. Evelyn in Maine says, everyone bring snacks. Thanks for sending in your comments and your questions tonight, too. Letting me read them on the air. Oh, I might have missed a couple. I can't read every comment, but let me just see something. Hold on a second here. Sean's News says, I'm from New Jersey. There's Ciattarelli signs everywhere. He seems really popular in South Jersey. I think he will win. Hey, thanks so much to our moderators for being here too, for keeping things under control in the chat. I like that we can have people with different views talk to each other in the chat and share their views, but our moderators are there to keep things civil and respectful. Ruth Krafasi, thanks for moderating over there on YouTube, and all of our other YouTube moderators. Over on Twitch, Good Luck Duck, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3, thank you. Kay Lowry, Body, Margaret Riley, Christina Neal, and Paul Anderson over on Facebook. Big thanks. And Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Thank you. Thanks to everybody who donated. That's super nice of you guys. Eamon O'Leary and everybody else I thanked earlier. Did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. But thank you so much. If you ever want to donate, you go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. But huge thanks for supporting the channel and allowing it to exist, and allowing me to buy the election data. And but thank you. And also, another good way to find out when we're live is follow us on X at AgendaFreeTV. I always post there when we're going live. I post updates about the channel over there at AgendaFreeTV. We do have a chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air, the Agenda Free TV Discord chat. A number of our viewers like doing that. Check out the free Discord chat. It's free. Oh, the link, the mods will post the link to the chat in the chat room. And I forgot to mention, it's the same link as the free notifications. I would recommend signing up for our free notifications. We've created our node notifications. They work great. They're free. You sign up once, you get sent a notification whenever we go live. Because I don't know when when all the big news breaks news is going to happen. I can't tell you in advance when we're coming on the air. Usually tomorrow night, I know I'll be on the air. But sign up for the notifications so you don't miss a stream. It's the same link to sign up for the free notifications, and if you want to check out the Discord chat. Thanks to our Discord mods as well for all you do. Thank you, Discord mods. Also, I want to mention for our YouTube viewers, I would suggest turning on the YouTube notifications, which can be a little tricky. What you want to do is subscribe to the channel and click the bell and choose all notifications. Subscribe, click the bell, choose all notifications to turn on those notifications over there. Oh, I owe a thanks to John Q. Public. Now, John says there are many other municipal elections too. Yes, lots of elections. So I'm guessing we might be covering a bunch of other elections as they come up tomorrow night. So we'll have to see, you know, what we end up covering. I can't tell yet. There's some Pennsylvania Supreme Court elections I know. So thanks, John. We'll be talking about it tomorrow night. Hey, also huge thanks to our Twitch subscribers like Annie Cush and CC and Matthew Kohai 3 and Douthis and Gonzalez and E-Biker and Soft Rugs and Jack's Animals. Thank you for subscribing. Jazzy Renee, thank you. And all of our other subscribers over there. E-Biker, Aegon Cholakian Wow, KCOXXO, Warlord Wolf, thanks for subscribing. And all of our other Twitch subscribers, thanks. Our Facebook subscribers, thanks to all of you. Like Chuck Mosca and thanks, Chuck. Julie Cantrell Smith. Sharon Klassen Goslin, Margaret Riley, LT, Kay Lowry Body, and Shannon Davis Hughes, Michael Clayton. Thank you. And our YouTube members too. Evelyn in Maine, Richard Hales, CAC 813, Eastern Sierra Skies, I Need Some Skooma, Juzbo Cam Research. Thanks for being subscribers over there. Benny Hill. Lolly Lollipop, Storm Laughter. Gary Baines. Don, Red Girl, Space Fraggle. Leslie Ladyhawk, Waltham. Chaz Martin, Nicole, CJ Breaks Things. Thank you for being members. And all of our Crypto King. Thanks, Crypto King. Hope to see you all tomorrow night. Megan Nicole, thanks for watching. 3D1 Street Person, thank you for watching. Zipper thinks that Democrats are going to win all the key races in Prop 50 in Cali. That's what Zipper thinks. Rule Vox, thanks for watching. Also, Kevin Gross, thanks for watching. Kevin Stasha Morgan, thank you for watching. Hublot, thanks for watching. All right, guys, we're wrapping this up. So again, thank you for tuning in to our preview, Election Eve preview. We will be on tomorrow. Our viewer Alvaro wants yes on 50. We'll see what happens. I mean, I assume it's favored to win. I don't know if there's been polling on Prop 50, though. I would have to imagine it's assumed it's favored in California. I see one article said that polling showed strong support for it. I would not be surprised. That's what I would expect. Yeah, SF Gates said there were polls. Said a poll last week showed that 6 out of 10. What does it say? 6 out of 10 likely voters support it. We'll see. All right, guys. So thank you for being here. Election stream tomorrow night. I anticipate starting at 6 p.m. Eastern or earlier, but definitely want to get on by 6 because Virginia polls close at 7. But we might start a little earlier too. So that is it for now. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.